All right, how's it going, everyone? So this is Jonathan Duran, Duran's TV, and today I'm going to be talking about how to prepare for a regional tournament in 2024. We're about the end of the season now, and a lot of people have been asking me on Twitter. This is like a sought out video on how to really prepare for a tournament, um, and to qualify for the second day of that specific tournament. So I'm going to talk about that and how to stay consistent with gameplay and preparation because I really do think that if you prepare correctly, and you have the right heads, right headspace, and obviously you have to get some calls right, and obviously there's RNG. But if you really prepare, then you should be fine into heading into day two. So I'm first things first. I'm gonna kind of show you my season as far as like the last four regionals in the US that I made day two for. So the first one I think I attended this season was Charlotte in 2024. Actually, I went to San Antonio and I had a really bad toothache. I had to like get like really crazy pain medicine for it, and I ended up doing pretty well here. I still think I went 6-3 in San Antonio. I'm somewhere around here. Let's see. Did I do this? Am I really this low? No, I got to be higher than this, right? I definitely got top 128. Oh, here we go. Okay, 117. I went 6-3 at San Antonio. 40 CP with Ogre, Wellspring, Flutter, Rilla, Heatran, King Gambit, and Salamence. I forget. I can't believe I brought double steel. That's kind of crazy if you really think about it. Cool team. We were leftovers. I don't even remember this team to be honest that well. I do remember the Salamence Rocky Helmet stuff. Ogre, obviously Gambit, Goggles. Assault Vest, Rilla. Oh, I actually put on Twitter that I had it the other way, fake out here. I actually think I did have it fake out at the top, not like this. So that's kind of funny. Because there's like a little debate going on Twitter about like what order to put the moves, which is really funny. So the first one I'm gonna really showcase is Charlotte. That was obviously won by Wolfie. It is really hard to not say he's the GOAT right now, the way he's been playing. So um, Wolfie is one of the best, if not the best ever. He won Charlotte, really fun regional to play in. I came in 57th place here. I qualified for the second day of this tournament. This was the team that I used for Charlotte. Um, we had Assault Vest Entei, Ursheet Dark, Glamora, Ogre Wellspring, Booster, Special Attack Flutter, and probably the bulkiest Tornadus spread ever. Did really well. So if I go to my Orlando prep, I'm gonna show you my spreadsheet here. I mean my Charlotte prep. I'm gonna go Charlotte, not Bronzong. Uh, no, actually it's none of those teams. Do I not have it? Salamance, Vancouver. Oh, here we go. Glamora. Okay, it was this team anyway. This was the team that I brought um to Charlotte. So this is the team that I brought. Did pretty well. So if you look at the usage stats, for the most part, high 60 percentage for win rates, 70 plus percentage for these three. Um, it's the reason why Tornadus is there because Bleak Wind exists, right? But you can really see like the Terras. So I like to look at this stat a lot. And when I look at this stat, I can see like, okay, which Pokemon do I Terra the most? And do I normally win? So when I Terra Urshi Dark, I normally win. When I Terra Ogre Water, I usually win. All right. Flutter, not so much. Entei, not so much. So I would try to not Terra those Pokemon at the actual tournament since they didn't do well in practice. In practice, I'm probably more flexible with like things that I'll try as far as like, okay, did this work? No, etc. When I'm at the actual tournament, I already know like, okay, I'm never terroring this Pokemon. So that's why I'll make it to day two because I know I'm never terroring one specific Pokemon, and in the matchup, I'm always centering this one. This is my win condition. So it's like, okay, how can I identify my win condition in the matchup? So, um, then move usage. I like to look at this too. So if you look at move usage, realistically, if you're going into a tournament, you want to have your moves like this close combat slot in Urshifu is actually pretty bad in practice. I would actually, for most cases, I would consider, okay, what could I replace close combat with? Obviously, you're not going to replace close combat with Urshidark, but if it was like a different Pokemon that was under 10%, I would start thinking about, okay, what's a better move that I could replace that with? And oddly enough, I actually just went to Orlando and I didn't have close combat on my Urshi Water. I put Poison Jab instead. So like noticing those little things, like what can I replace it with that would actually give me more value at the tournament that people aren't actually preparing for, and Poison Jab I thought was really good. It definitely won me at least 2 to 3 sets. It definitely won me one in day two. For sure. Like my first round, my second round of day two, I played Chef Rich and I got the poison on poison jab twice. It didn't really matter though, honestly. Um, I would have rather have been able to burn his roaring moon than poison it. So the poison actually kind of benefited him a little bit, but he didn't know that. He just kind of mad that he switched it in on the poison jab and then he got poisoned. So but yeah, here we go. And yeah, so like these moves are all pretty solid. So I feel like going into a tournament, I feel pretty good. Another one here that I would consider is Stomping Tantrum. Like I really didn't click Stomping Tantrum that much, but just to have that ground coverage is good. So I kind of left it there for the actual tournament, as far as like for prep wise. So being able to look at these kinds of stats is really helpful. And overall, that this team was really, really consistent. I know Master Mark also brought this team. It's the same exact team. I let him use it. And I know he went 6-3 also. Um, where is he? Mark. He definitely got 6-3. I probably passed it. Maybe he didn't get top 128. I don't know. Maybe there was a lot of people at Charlotte. Huh. But I know he went 6-3 though, for sure went 6-3. That's kind of crazy actually. Okay, I can't find it right now, but yeah, he definitely that's kind of frustrating. I can't find him, but he definitely went 6-3 there. So like the team that I brought, we went 5-7. I mean, we went 9. I went 9-6 here, and then Mark also went 6-3. So we actually combined for 90 points if you really think about it with this team at this one tournament. So pretty solid run for consistency. The only reason why I didn't do so well in day two is because there was like a really crazy disconnect in day two. That kind of ruined my first set. And I also missed, I think I missed 80% of my bleak wins. It wasn't like it was the opposite of bleak win. So not good. After Charlotte was Knoxville. I actually played Toller Webb in Swiss. And he was my unwinnable matchup against the team that I brought. So I'll talk about that team as well. And I came in 28th place here at Knoxville. I got my Amoonguss taken away. So I was really playing with 5 Pokemon in day two. And team was really good at Knoxville. Team was very good. Como was so awesome to use. Like, if you don't know how to handle Como, he really can just like 1v3 your entire team if you don't know how to deal with it correctly, especially next to Instant Amoonguss. Like, it's just a really good archetype if you don't have any answers into it. The only downfall about Como was that it's not good into like Goldango, and as you can tell, Goldango won the tournament. So yeah, very, very bad into Goldango. There's a Goldango here, there's a Goldango here, another one here, another one here. I actually played Joseph in the mirror. He had Amoonguss and I did not, so like it was not favorable for me. And he also had Goldango. As you see, Conkeldonk had Goldango. Like Goldango was just impossible matchup. So when I played Toller, we were both 6-0 when I played Toller. And game one was actually a lot closer than it should have been. I was able to kind of bring it back. And I'm like, okay, this is actually kind of winnable if he doesn't lead the Goldango. And then game two, sure enough, he leads Ogerpon Goldango. And I'm like, oh, this game's over because I have to fake out the Ogerpon and he just gets a free nasty plot. And I like, what do I do? Trick room? Like, yeah, there's nothing you can do. So impossible matchup was Ogerpon Goldango. So I lost that. But that prep went pretty good. So if you look here, I have prep here. Also, shout out to Eric Rios. I needed to shout him out in this video because he definitely helped me with a lot of my matchups and my spreads on my Pokemon for sure. Here we go. Como LP2 from Nox. Right. So yeah, Eric Rios definitely helped me with that. I did pretty bad in prep here, right? Yeah, this looks bad. Yeah, so the team looks really bad here, right? So it's like, all right, oh, I switched to Goldango. I did switch the team. No, Knoxville is still Flutter. Knoxville is Flutter. This is really bad. I wouldn't bring this to a tournament if these were the stats, by the way. So I had to have fixed something. Let me check the move usage. So like Perish Song being under 5% and like only clicking it once seems bad. So like maybe like thinking about a different move for that. Oh, I don't have Ting Lu on this team. Okay. In the actual team, I had Ting Lu. So this is wrong. I'm pretty sure I had Ting Lu. Wait. Yeah, Ting Lu. Um, I was Poison Terra. Poison Terra. I thought I was Fairy Terra with Terra Blast. Maybe not, but yeah. I thought I was Poison Terra. Was I really Poison Terra and not Fairy? I guess I was Poison Terra, but I definitely was Fissure. Fissure actually was helpful in game in day two because I lost Amoonguss and Amoonguss was the MVP. So playing without Amoonguss is like so hard, especially when it's like the best Pokemon ever. Um, so yeah, you definitely want to prepare for that, like having the spreadsheets all done up, perfect. Then after Knoxville was Vancouver. I made day two in Vancouver also. I came in 31st place. Did pretty bad in day two because they took away Urshifu. So I had to play all of day two that Urshifu. But still pretty good. Honestly, Volcarona did well in day two, and Raging Bolt did well in day two. So, but obviously without Urshifu, it was really, really hard. Clear Amulet Shen Pao is so good. So some of you are probably like, why Ghost Terra with Clear Amulet? The reason why is because leading up to this tournament, I had been practicing with this team, and I was doing really well with it. The only problem was that Dozo Ting Lu stuff started picking up right before Vancouver. So I actually needed a matchup into Dozo Ting Lu. And Chen Pao was so good. So the idea behind it is that Shen Pao can stick meaningful damage onto the Gouging Fire and the Ting Lu if they don't Terra. And if they do get the Sand Tomb with Ghost Terra, you can actually switch out from Sand Tomb while you're Ghost Terra. Also, being Ghost Terra, you're immune to the extreme speed. So like the Ghost Terra on Chen Pao was so good into the matchup that I needed it. Now at Orlando, yeah, at Orlando, I had Goldango, so I didn't need to be Ghost Terra because I already had Goldango, and Goldango just demolished the matchup. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but yeah, I went 8-6. Um, Not the best day two. I played well. I played I played Jesse. I played Jesse Romello in day two. He actually made a really, really good read in game two or game three. I forget which one. That really won him the set, honestly. Really good read. He predicted that I wouldn't protect when I should have, and I had to pay for it. So good job by Jesse. Like he played really well. I also played Aaron Trailer. I played. It was really hard to play this team because like this was a faster Ursaluna, and this is Choice Band Rapid Strike, and he also had an Incineroar, and I didn't have my own Urshifu, and he was just like, "Yeah, you played well. You just didn't have Urshifu." So like, I did. So playing it, it made it a little bit easier to strategize. I was like, "Yeah, I know, it's all good." So yeah. Oh, Carl went 10-4 here. I didn't realize Carl went 10-4 here with the same exact team. I actually played him in Orlando this past weekend. Um, okay, yeah. So he was slightly different in Orlando. He changed the Dragonite set, but everything else seems about the same. Um, I also feel like he didn't have taunt. I think he had body press in Orlando. But yeah, so good job, Carl, for 10-4. Very consistent. Top 16 in Vancouver, and then he went 6-3 in Orlando. I had to play him for the win and in. Really, really good player. Who else did I play in day two? I played those two. I didn't play this. Oh, I played Raphael. Um, he played well, but he also crit me a lot. So there's that. But yeah, this team is really cool. The Ursaluna stuff. Ursaluna started picking up right before EUIC, and then lo and behold, Ursaluna also wins EUIC. So, um, yeah, so really cool stuff. But let's look at my Vancouver spreadsheet here. Third draft. By the way, as you can see, I prepped a lot. Like I had a third draft here for Vancouver. So usage stats were pretty good. Like Raging Bolt was undefeated, Ensign was Ensign, Rilla was Rilla, Urshi was Urshi. Volcarona was Amp go before the tournament. Um, to be honest with you, but uh Dragon Terra actually mattered in day two of the tournament. It didn't really matter in day one. I don't think I ever terrored. I actually didn't bring Volcarona a lot in day one, and I was kind of like mad that I had it. And then in day two, I kind of needed it to sweep because I got my Urshifu taken away. Um, so there was that. But I was like, yeah, what can I do to, fix, Volcarona really wasn't that good. Then I saw like EUIC, Alex Gomez, and Rios went with Goldango in the Volcarona slot. So I just kept the same five for Orlando and then added Goldango. And then Orlando, obviously, here in Orlando, I came in 23rd place with 11 wins, 4 losses. As you can see, like 11 wins, 4 losses at any other regional would have been enough for top 16. But look how many 11 of 4s didn't make top 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I played Yodam in day two. 6, 7, 8, like 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. This is like insane. 14 players in day two that went 11-4 and didn't get top 16. Like that's insane. And all like really good players. Like everyone here is really good. Like James Beck, Ashton Cox, Paul Ruiz, you know, Luca Paz, Yodam, right? Pangy, all these really, really good players that went 11-4 that didn't get top 16. So it kind of feels bad, but it's fine. Um, Team was really good. Also, another thing that I would say is you want to have a document for calcs, so that way you know some things. So in these are my Orlando calcs. So like knowing what you live and what you don't live. So like Urshifu, what do I live, what I don't? Incineroar, what do I live, what I don't live? Urshifu Rapid, what do I live and what I don't live? So like this would help me when staying in front of stuff um on the field. So for example, I'm gonna talk about my win and in versus Carl actually. Um Carl had let me see if I can find his Orlando team here. Because he changed the team, so I know he was 6'3". Carl. I can't find Carl. Did he really not? There's no. Okay, I found him. I found him. Okay. All right, here it is. So this was Carl's team sheet for Orlando. Okay, pretty much the same thing. But yeah, he did have body press over taunt. We played in day one for the winning in Orlando. And something that really mattered throughout was so I won game one pretty clean. Game two, I didn't respect Dragonite enough in game two, and it was able to get two scale shots off, which was able to give it a +2 in speed, which allowed it to outspeed pretty much everything on my team. Pretty scary, actually. Now, I was able to find out though in game two that his Dragonite at +1 was still slower than his Chien-Pao, and I figured out my Chien-Pao was faster than his Chien-Pao. So even though I lost game two, I was able to figure out that information. Also, this Chien-Pao took a KO onto my Rillaboom that it shouldn't have been able to take unless it was adamant. So I was able to figure out that this was actually an adamant Chien-Pao in game two. So something I was able to write in my notes during that game was, okay, his Chien-Pao is adamant. This Dragonite is probably meant to probably EV to outspeed at +1 adamant Chien-Paos and modest Fluttermanes, but it's not EV'd to outspeed Jolly, which was really good information because I was in fact Jolly on my Chien-Pao. I could tell by the way that he was playing and positioning that he didn't know yet which Chien-Pao was faster or if it was a speed tie. He was also probably assuming that I was adamant and probably bulky, so he probably didn't. He probably because I was clear amulet. So if you want to look at my team sheet for Orlando, let's look at mine. I was where am I? Here we go. So this is my team sheet. Okay. So this is my Chien-Pao, clear amulet, Terrifier, Crash, Sucker, Protect, Sacred Sword, Urshi Rapid, Mystic Water, Poison, Jab, Terra Poison, Bolt, Goldango. Goldango is definitely the MVP of that set. That was the game plan. So in practice and through talking to Eric Rios, we'd come up with the game plan of the game plan versus this stuff is always Incin, Goldango, and then +2 more. So it could be my Chien-Pao and Rillaboom in the back, but you always lead Incin, Goldango, and the idea is to fake out, nasty plot, pivot, nasty plot again, and kind of sweep through the team with Goldango. Obviously, got to be careful because this guy has Howl, and this guy has Inner Focus, but he can only really hit Goldango if I Terra. So I have to keep cycling Intimidates onto this guy, so he can't really hit Goldango besides this guy or that guy. So I gotta be careful. And obviously he can Ruination and Sand Tomb with this guy. So I gotta be careful. Okay. He definitely has answers if I don't position well and play well. So game three, it was a position where I was up one Pokemon. But he had a +1 with Dragonite, and he had gotten me to Terra the Goldango. And I did read the team sheet and I saw that he has Iron Head and he was at +1 from a Howl. And I can't intimidate his Dragonite. So the game winning play was I had to swap out my Goldango, which sucks to switch out. Like you never want to switch out your Goldango when it's at +4 and you're ready to rock. Or I might have been like +4 or +3. Like either way, like you don't want to switch it out in that situation. But I had to. If I didn't, I just like auto lose, I think. So I switch out, get Incineroar in, get the Intimidate onto Gouging, and pretty much I'm in a really good spot. Now I just fake out and because he went for Iron Head into the Incineroar, my Chien-Pao is still faster than his Dragonite. So now I'm pressuring the Oko with Icicle Crash. I think on like turn 2 or 3, he terrored the Ting Lu because he was scared of a Woodhammer into the slot, so he went Terra Poison. So because he had already terrored, I didn't have to worry about the Steel Terra, and I was pressuring an Oko onto Dragonite. I ended up getting it, and I ended up winning the set. We had a lot of people watching, but the reason why I was able to win the set is because I realized this was Adamant. This was Eevee to outspeed Adamant, but not Jolly. And I was faster with my Chen Pao in game 2 than his Dragonite. So I was able to figure out that that was my win condition going into game 3. Carl played really well. We had so many people like watching us. This is for a win and in, like played super well, both from New York. But being able to take really good notes and getting that type of information throughout the set is really crucial, especially if you can figure out the nature of the Pokemon. If you can figure out the nature of the Pokemon during the set, it gives away so much information. Like if I can figure out if you're Adamant or Jolly, that tells me a lot. I know that I know that I gotta burn you, I gotta pivot out. So if I can figure out the nature and stuff or how much damage you're taking from certain hits, it's definitely a big deal. Without a doubt. So if you're able to figure those types of things out as the set progresses, because you got to realize when you're going into a tournament like this, it's a 3-game set, right? It's kind of like if you're playing in a sports game and you have a series, it's like, all right, how do they play? What are everyone has a different play style. So it's like kind of figuring out the play style of that person and kind of learning it from there. So like I played somebody else too. And then in day 2, I played Chef Rich. Where is he? Chef Rich. I want to talk about this one actually. So, well, yeah, this is Chef Rich's team. Crazy team, by the way. Close friend. We love Chef Rich. Awesome dude. Uh, Probably has the most points in the world with Tinkaton as far as championship points goes. Really good player, as you can tell. All right, because most people are not winning with Tinkaton right now, or even trying to play Tinkaton. Okay, so the fact that he made it to day 2 of Orlando, one of the biggest regionals ever with Tinkaton, speaks volumes. Okay. So shout out to you, Chef Rich. He actually whoops my butt game 1. We're both 8-2 right now. Whoops my butt game 1. This guy went crazy. And I'm like, crap. I kind of just lose, right? So the first thing I did after game 1 was I wrote in my notes who was bad in the matchup. The answer was Goldango. Goldango was terrible. It looks good because he only has Breaking Swipe and Knockoff, and I can just Terra Fairy, and like, what are you doing to Terra Fairy? I'm chilling. But it actually was bad because this guy kind of just kills him. So I'm like, all right. So I gotta get Noah Goldango. So game 2. So game 2, the game plan was I don't know. Rilla Urshi probably. I think I would lead Rilla Urshi in game 2 with Incineroar and my Qianpao. And I get Incineroar in, Rilla's out, Urshifu's in, and I think he takes I Terra my Incineroar, the ghost. Okay. We're in a position where he has Roaring Moon, Urshifu on the field. So he has these two. Okay. So he clicks knockoff into my Incineroar, predicting the Terra, but it doesn't kill because of the Incineroar switched in the previous turn. So this is a -1 knockoff. So in my head, I'm like, all right, I'm kind of fine. I'm like, there's no way he doubles this slot, right? And he does double the slot. So he ended up picking up the KO, but it gave my other side free reigns. I still end up winning the match. So I wrote down like, okay, I burned Terra, but I still won, even though he made a really good play. So I could tell that he was kind of shaken up that he lost that set, even after he made the predictions correctly. So game 3 comes. I couldn't believe that I actually got to see this thing in game 3. I couldn't believe it. Could not believe I saw Tinkaton in game 3. So he brings Tinkaton. and I led Incineroar Urshifu. Okay. Um, Basically, I've read the team sheet and I see that he has Encore. So pretty much when you run Encore, you want to lock the person into fake out the previous turn. So um, basically, I'm being pressured into fake out uh lock, right? So I'm not clicking fake out. He has these two as a lead in game 3. I Terra, he also has fake out, so just in case he goes to fake out my Incineroar, I Terra my Incineroar again, Ghost, and I Wisp the Chen Pao slot, right? Because realistically, he can't Sacred Sword me if I Terra, and he can't Sucker Punch me because I'm Wisping. And whatever, he Ice School crashes me, he Ice School crashes me. I'm fine. That's not gonna kill. So I'm fine. And then this is -1 because it's Mold Breaker, not Own Tempo, so I can intimidate it. So it's -1, and I Wisp the Chen Pao slot. He ends up hard swapping Chen Pao for Roaring Moon. Roaring Moon switches on the Wisp and gets burned, and I'm like, all right, cool and fine. Now he still has this on the field. I end up Wisping this slot the next turn. Basically, what that does, it's safe because if he clicks Encore into Incineroar, I'm locked into Wisp, which honestly is fine. So then I Wisp the Tinkaton, and I'm chilling. But he ends up play roughing into the Urshifu slot, into my Urshifu. I could have Terra'd, but I didn't. I mean, I had already Terra'd the Incineroar, so I couldn't Terra. So I swap into Rilla, and it's fine because I end up. It's a -1 play rough, doesn't really do much, and now he's burnt with both of these. He ends up having Chen Pao and his Urshifu in the back. Basically, I just win now because I can just burn everything. And yeah, he saw the writing on the wall. I just whittled him down. Um, with that, the game plan was really strong in game 3. He told me afterwards that he was thinking about bringing Ogerpon. I probably would have done something similar, and I probably would have just fake out Poison Jab the Ogerpon slot anyway if he brought that. And even if he locked like my Incineroar into fake out, like this guy's dying the poison jab. There's no way it's living that. So, um, especially a Terror poison jab. So yeah, like my Urshifu's pretty strong. Um, so yeah, but that's probably what I would win for. And then if he swapped in the Roaring Moon, that would have been funny if I got another poison again. Honestly, that would have been pretty funny. But I got a couple poisons on it. But yeah, really cool set. But I was able to figure out that my Chin Pao in game 2, I figured out my in game 2, because game 2 kind of came down to like the Chen Pao mirror on who was faster, and basically my Chen Pao was faster than his, and I won. Um, that's what it came down to. So I knew that if that situation was to happen again, I would be faster. In game 3, he did set up Tailwind, but I was able to kind of stall out his Tailwind pretty easy because everything was burned for the most part. So yeah, I just won off of that. Um, so yeah, so like being able to figure out which Pokemon's faster, the nature, things like that, that all matters for tournament preparation. And then knowing your matchup. So, for example, I want to put the whiteboard up here. Uh, well, this is different. What is going on here? Next. Uh, no, I want to. All right. So, actually, fun fact, I actually recorded this already and realized that the whiteboard on here wasn't working, so I have to go to Google Docs to do it. But anyway, I was talking about getting into day 2 and my winning in with Carl. So, this was Carl's team. Ting Ludozo and Specs Goldango, loaded dice Dragonite. So, um, getting into a winning in like this is really hard, especially when Carl went like he went 10-4 Vancouver, same exact archetype. So he's very, very comfortable with this team. So he has experience with it. Really, really tough matchup for me. It's a really hard team to play in general. Like if you don't know how to play this team specifically, it can just really just whittle down your resources and just win because of Sand Tomb plus Yawn. So the first thing is you need to know your matchup, right? So my matchup into that is Incineroar plus Setup Mod. And in my case, this was my team. Okay. Now, because I don't have leftovers on my Raging Bolt, I felt better with Goldango in the matchup. Okay. So Goldango felt like my win condition. What's good about Goldango in comparison to this team? Um, Goldango, obviously, Heavy Slam's not doing much. Ruination and Sand Tomb is kind of annoying. If I Terra Goldango, I'm fine, really. Sucker Punch is bad, but Icicle Crash and Sacred Sword can't do anything to Goldango. Um, I just have to worry about Heat Crash from gouging fire, to be honest with you. But if I cycle Intimidate and Parting Shot with Rillaboom and leftovers, Goldango is kind of fine in the matchup. So I felt like going into it that my strategy needed to be Incineroar, and in this case, Goldango. Okay. So that's how I identified the matchup as I'm looking at the team sheet. Now, I win game one. In game two, he wins game two, right? But I got some very valuable information out of game two that allowed me to figure out my strategy going into game three and my win condition to lock me into day two. And I realized that his Dragonite was slower or speed tie with his Qian Pao. And his Qian Pao in game two, it like I think it O code my Rillaboom at neutral with Icicle Crash, and there was like no way my Rillaboom should have died to that. So let me run the calc actually. Um yeah, I'm like pretty sure my Rillaboom shouldn't have died, but let's check the calc here. So Pokemon damage uh calculator. Um so if we check the calc here, I'm gonna import save. We'll type in Rillaboom, my custom set. Okay. And then I'm gonna put in Shen Pao, Adamant, Terra Stellar. So yeah, I was not prepared that neutral Icicle Crash like always kills me. Like that's not good. Let me see Jolly. I don't think I died of Jolly. Yeah, so like, oh, it's actually a good chance to Oko. My Rillaboom actually. So I didn't know that, to be honest. So I'm like, oh crap. But it was actually pretty slow. Um, his Chen Pao, mine was faster. And mine was Jolly. So I was like, okay, he's Jolly. I mean, he's Adamant. And Dragonite was pretty slow, even at +1. At +2, it was faster than me. So at +2, Dragonite was faster than my Chen Pao. So going into game three, I wrote in my notes, I need to make sure Dragonite cannot outspeed Chen Pao. And I was like, don't let that happen. Do not let this happen. Okay. So, what are some ways that I could stop that from happening? One way is Goldango just goes crazy with Nasty Plot and just makes it rain on everybody. Because Goldango is like that and can just take the game over. Or I can somehow pivot in my Chien Pao to a point where Heat Crash can't kill me with Intimidates, and I'd be pressuring Icicle Crash onto the Dragonite. Or I can Wisp the Dragonite because I have Little Wisp on my Incineroar. So if I Wisp it, then it's basically dead. Or I can, if I don't want to Wisp it, I can still Parting Shot the Dragonite and switch out. So I have some ways of dealing with the Dragonite. Okay. So we get to a situation where this is the board state. He has Gouging Fire next to Dragonite. I had to Terra my Goldango, so I'm Goldango, but Terra Fairy. Next to, was it Incineroar? No, it wasn't Incineroar. It was Rillaboom. It was Rillaboom, yeah. So it's Goldango, next to Rillaboom. And in the back, I have Incineroar, Qian Pao. Okay. So this is the field. All right. And basically, I needed to uh I needed to get Incineroar. I needed to switch out Goldango. I'm like, okay, I can't let Dragonite scale shot. He's so Goldango at this point is like plus, I want to say +3. Maybe it's still +4. I might have been, I'm definitely +3, maybe +4 also. Okay. I'm not sure, but I'm like pretty boosted with Goldango. So he's very frightened by Goldango at the moment. Okay. Um, and now that I'm Terra Fairy, this thing has Iron Head and he's +1. So I'm pretty scared of that. I'm not gonna lie. A +1 Iron Head probably kills Goldango. Like I wasn't full health. So like I could protect, but I didn't see the value of protect there because he could just double the Rillaboom slot predicting that. And yeah, it wouldn't have been good. So basically, if Rillaboom dies, I still have fake out pressure the next turn with Incineroar if I switch out Goldango with Incineroar. So I'm like, okay, I actually have to forfeit my boosts and get Incineroar in. And I U-turned to just chip the Dragonite just so I could reset Rillaboom and get Qianpao in. And he actually didn't double Rillaboom. He did Iron Head the Goldango slot and it hit Incineroar and I lived it. And Incineroar was very, very low to begin with. Um, but it still lived because it resists and it's Incineroar. I'm pretty sure that I was Impish. Yeah, so I'm actually Impish. So yeah, I would definitely live that. And I get Incineroar in, intimidate the gouging fire, and because I U-turned, I was able to pivot out into Chen Pao. So now I have fake out plus icicle crash where I fake out icicle crash. He protects both, right? Um the next turn I go for I'm pretty sure that I icicle crash it still. He was still -1 on gouging, so I lived the I think he E-speed he crashed the Chin Pao and I lived. And I icicle crash kill parting shot the gouging and then got Goldango back in and it was like kind of over. And then I just cycled back in intimidate and yeah, it was kind of over from there. Um, but yeah, the position was, I was up a mon, but he did have setup where this thing got kind of scary. But he did already Terra the Ting Lu earlier in the game. And because Ting Lu was Terra'd, I never had to worry about Terra Steel Dragonite because he had already Terra'd the Ting Lu, which was really, really good for me that I got that Terra offhand. And I was also able to figure out from game two the nature. So a couple of things that you want to take note of when you're going into a match like that um, is can I figure out any information about my opponent's Pokemon? Okay. So if you can figure out information about your opponent's Pokemon, that is a huge key. Okay. The next thing is sleep turns. All right. Make sure you count your sleep turns. Okay. It gets real frustrating after a while. All right. If the opponent gets a stat drop or stat increase, make sure you are aware of that. So these are things that I write down in my notes that I go into it when I'm taking notes during my matches. Um, and like as you can see, I went over this a little bit earlier in the video, but like if you look at my prep, like my let's see, I think it was this one. Yeah, this is my Orlando prep. Like, if you look at my prep for the tournament, like I had some significant prep. Like, I played about 76 matches that I recorded. I actually played way more than 76. I can tell you that right now. But some of them I felt like weren't good to record because I was either like too tired or maybe I had taken like NyQuil because I had, maybe I was a little congested and went to sleep early. Um, or whatever the case. And I didn't feel like they were good enough to record. So or if like they weren't like high of ladder at all. So yeah. Like and then this I'm not gonna give away who these players are if I play them multiple times and they practice with me. I'm not gonna give away who they are because of this account and stuff, but then you can see it. But like yeah, I got to get some good practice. Um, I tried to practice with teams that I think I was going to see at the tournament. Um, and if like for example, I didn't face a single Kingdra, but I did face a lot of uh Landorus, Archaludon, Pelipper. I did face a couple of those, so having that kind of practice into the matchup, even if the one mon is kind of off, still like having some familiarity with the matchup, it was good. This was a team that actually I thought was gonna do well at the tournament. I didn't see any. Um, but yeah. And this team ended up getting top four at that exact tournament. And I knew it was going to be a nightmare. I did win this specific match. I did have a game plan for it. It was not fun to play. But I always have to lead. I knew my game plan to it is like it's always Bolt Goldango. And I need to protect to stall Trick Room, like always. Yeah. But I knew my matchup pretty well. You have to get some good practice here. Yeah, so like if you could say then I would check my usage stats. For the most part, all above 75% win rate. And I went 11-4 at the tournament. So I mean the numbers add up, right? Really good practice here. The matchup stats you can see like best matchups, worst matchups. And of course, Lilligant was my worst matchup, and I actually lost to Lilligant in my winning in for top 16. And I lost because of 3 sleep turns. Not fun. All right. Ursaluna, I was 2 of 4. I did play one Ursaluna actually at the tournament. I lost game one, won game two, and I lost a really close game three against Yotam. He played super well. Um, but yeah. So these were the moves. I went over earlier about like having moves that like when you go to a tournament, if it's under a certain percentage, that you should probably switch it. As you can see for these specific moves for this specific tournament, like all of them were extremely useful. Just checking these out was really good. Like Poison Jab on Urshifu, like doesn't seem like it'd be good on Urshifu, but it was so good. It was so good because I can Terra in front of Ogre Pawns. I can fake out Poison Jab the Ogre Pawn or a Mugen switch, and it doesn't do like it doesn't resist it. It takes neutral damage, and because of stab, it actually does a good, nice little chunk. So like I can get it into Icicle Crash range if they switch in. So like Poison Jab was really, really, really good. Okay, I loved it a lot. I think this was like the best set for Urshifu that I had going into the tournament. It was really good. Raging Bolt booster was actually awesome. It did really good into Trick Room because I can just stick damage right away. It was really good. Incineroar was Incineroar, best Pokemon in the game, the king of VGC. Goldango was a last minute add. I don't really like Goldango, but its ability is broken. And it single handedly won me. It single handedly brought me to 11-4. I played Avery, and they were running Komo P2. And this was the team sheet, I believe. 10-5, 10-5. Let's see. Avery, no. It was the same team I brought to. Oh, here we go. Avery right here. It was the same team I brought to Knoxville for the most part, except they had Goldango over Flutter. I ended up running Goldango after, and I won a PC with it. Team is so good. This team is so good. The only problem with this team, though, is that it has a very big weakness to Water Pond Goldango. Very big weakness to that. I didn't have Water Pond. So I'm like, okay, but I did have Goldango, and I had Nasty Plot. So how do I make up for not having Ogre Pond? Fake out, fake out, double fake out plus Nasty Plot. Um, I won in 2 games. So I was able to get Goldango to +6 in both games, and just completely snowball the game really fast. And still out Trick Room. Uh, Avery had a really cool game plan for game 2, and that was to try to get my Goldango to Terra Fairy and then Terra poison the Porygon, but I never really let that happen, to be honest with you. Um, yeah. So there's that. Um, but yeah, this I played this for we were both 10-4, 10 we were both 10-3 actually. Um, and then I got to 11-3 from this one, and I lost to Ryan Almeida. Um, I'm pretty sure he won game one. I won game two, and then he won game three. He got sleep powder. He hit every sleep powder. And it was just really hard to come back from that because he hit every sleep powder. But yeah. So as far as like going into that, like for preparation, um, obviously you want to know your matchups. Okay. You want to know your calcs. So make sure you're running calcs. Like I didn't know that one calc about Chen Pao, uh, the adamant one. So like that's scary that always kills. I guess like I didn't really worry about it because I always live -1. Um, and I have fake out and stuff. So like I guess I wasn't worried about it going into it. And having a document to put in your calcs and just knowing that. So like these were my Orlando calcs. Just having this sheet right here, kind of going over it, knowing that stuff. And then just like in certain situations, you need to be willing to make a ballsy play sometimes, even if you lose. So like I lost to Arvin in day one, I think. He put me at 4-2. We were at the 4-1 table. And his Ursa Luna was -1 in defense because it had headlong rushed me the previous turn. And my field was Pow plus Goldango. And I suckered the Ursa Luna, thinking that I would take it at -1, Terra Ghost. And yeah, I did not. So I probably should have protected both, then suckered. That probably would have won me the game. Uh, but yeah, so it's fine. I suckered and nasty plotted with Goldango, which would have like really won me that game, and we would have went to a game three. But yeah, he ended up winning in 2 games. Played super well. I didn't play the matchup well. But I got hyper aggressive. Thought I would take it. Like sucker plus nasty plot would have instantly won me the game. I would have been able to start trick him a little bit better, and then Goldango could have just swept from there. So yeah, but yeah, you got to be willing to make some ballsy plays every now and then. Like you saw, if you saw Neil and Wolfies, they both made really big ballsy plays in finals. So that won them games. One Neil a game, one Wolfie a game. So you got to be willing to do that once if you want to get further into a tournament. But you really want to take really good notes, know your matchups, know your calcs, and then obviously be confident in your Pokemon. And just feel comfortable piloting your team. Like I felt really like going into it, I felt really confident with this 6 right here. It felt so good to me. Like Rillaboom was really good. Urshifu, this was probably my favorite Urshifu spread of all time that I had. I'm not going to disclose that, but if you really want me to disclose it, you can DM me or leave a comment. All right. Chen Pao was so good. Clear Amulet was broken. Chen Pao had lost me, almost lost me a set because it missed like 3 ice skull crashes, but I ended up winning anyway. So it was fine. But yeah, so um, yeah, really, I felt really good with the team. Um, but I've been pretty consistent all season. Like obviously, Torn Glim in Charlotte, Como P2 in Knoxville, um, Volcarona in Vancouver, and I made day two all those times too. And then obviously, this team in Orlando. Now the teams are very similar that I ran from Vancouver to this one, but the sets are actually a lot different. So like in Vancouver, I was Terra Ghost Pal. Here I was Terra Fire. And in Vancouver, I was Scarf on Urshifu. Here I was Mystic Water. I was Terra Steel also in Vancouver, and here I was Poison. And then I was Leftovers Bolt, and then here I was Booster. So like they weren't exactly the same. I made I made changes on most of my Pokemon. Rillaboom was the same though. Goldango was obviously wasn't even on the team, so like I had one, two, three. I had 5 of the same 6, but one, two, 3 changes on those. Instant was the same. Instant I kept the same, honestly. So yeah. All right. I hope you guys found a lot of value out of this. If you really like content like this, I'm gonna try to posting content like this more often. About like my tournament runs. I'll be highlighting specific Pokemon in Regulation G. So like if you have a request on like what Pokemon you want me to highlight in Regulation G, we can talk about that. So like, obviously this guy running around I think is the most broken Pokemon for Regulation G, but we'll talk about that into like another video. But I hope you guys like this type of content. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for the support. I'm looking to, start doing like way more of these, breakdowns of my teams and, my tournament runs and ways that I can improve. And maybe by seeing how I can improve, you can see how you can improve as well. And hopefully that this added a lot of value for sure. And I think that looking at statistics like this often will add tons of value. As far as like choosing your moves and like what to bring to a big tournament like that. Like there was a lot of people in Orlando. Like I'm pretty sure it was like how many players? I think it was like 800, 900, 824 masters that went to Orlando. So I came in 23rd out of 824 players. So did pretty well, Um, kind of sucks the bubble out of top 16 at 11-4. Like honestly, there's so many 11-4s that didn't make it, and yeah, you're just missing money when you go 11-4. Like probably any other tournament, like 11-4 or 11-3 would get you top 16. For the most part, like I think some 11-3s like actually have made top 8 before. So yeah, it kind of just sucks. But even like 12-3s missed top 8, like 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 12-3s missed top 8. That's kind of crazy. And then there was only one, oh, 2 12-3. Wow, 3 12-3s. Wow, Wolfie and Neil are both 12-3. That's, oh wait, Ben was 12-3. Oh wow, all the 13 and 2s kind of dropped here. Um, oh wow, he had a scream tail. That's crazy. But yeah, like all played really well. Overall though, like those were my tips for how to prepare for a tournament, how to get ready for day two. Like if I had to give you one more tip on like getting like day two, try to get sleep. All right. If you don't sleep like me, energy drinks help. All right. You definitely need an energy drink. Like I definitely like need an energy drink. Try to have some support, like friend support, family support, girlfriend support definitely helps. And then being able to lock in, like not take your losses too hard. So yeah, like I know that in day one, I lost to Nezzy in day one of Orlando. And I played so like that was the one round that I just played like absolute dog water. I was pretty mad about it for a good bit, and then like Jackie was like, "Get out of your head." She's my girlfriend, and she's like, "Get out of your head." I got out of my head, and then locked right back in. So, being able to just flip the switch and lock right back in, and just trusting that you know what you're doing, have that type of confidence, but make sure that you prepare. Like if you didn't prepare, my last tip is if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Okay. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. That's a fact. That's in all aspects of life, not just Pokemon. And you want to make sure that you know your plan going into the tournament. You know your plan inside and out. You feel confident about it. You know the matchups. If you don't have a coach, highly recommend getting one. Like shout out to Eric Rios. He's the one that coached me for the tournament. Um, I've worked with Eric Rios all of 2024. And since doing that, like I've made day two at every single regional I went to in 2024. The only event that I bombed was EUIC. And honestly, it wasn't because of the prep. It was because I got super like it was the most unlucky I've ever been at a tournament. And I've been pretty unlucky at tournaments. So the most unlucky I've ever been. And you know, I totally recommend. Like, I definitely think coaching is worth it, especially if it's like a really good player. Um, so if you wanted a coaching from me, you can ask for sure. Like, I would have no problem. I love doing this stuff. I have so much fun with the game. I love this game, and it is something I'm very passionate about. Um, and I really love this spreadsheet. So also shout out to Bauer Dad. Bauer Dad's the person who actually made this spreadsheet, and it is I will fight to the death over this spreadsheet. It is so good. So shout out to Bauer Dad for making this spreadsheet, making this accessible to all VGC players. If you need the spreadsheet, I think I could leave a link of one that you can make a copy of in the chat description if you want. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video, love the content. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know like what Pokemon you want me to highlight for Regulation G. I'll be going over that. I'm also gonna be covering like tournament results, like Limitless tours, Victory Road tours, regionals, things like that. So leave a like, comment, subscribe, and thank you so much. Thank you all for the support that kind of pushed me into doing these types of videos. And until next time, all right.